famous country music star, Steve Azar. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. I love it when I hear my only Christmas song on your radio show, especially.
Yes, let's talk about that. Why? Why haven't you done a Christmas album?
I knew where you were heading. It's the same place my wife's been heading for about 20 years.
Yes.
I don't know. You know, I love doing Christmas songs, and I don't know. I think it may be lazy is a word, or there's not enough time in the day, or the night. But no, I know I should probably get on it before it's all said and done. But I do love celebrating Christmas, especially a Mississippi Christmas on SuperTalk.
You know, I will say this, though. Some of the greatest stars who just are obligated, because I'm sure they're agents of the label that says you got to get a Christmas album out there, they just put it together and it sucks. They don't put a lot in it. They do some cover songs. I mean, you know I'm right about this. They don't put a lot into it.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they do go in. I can testify that you were. I don't know where you've got your knowledge from, but it's very on point. They go in and they're racing in. It's the last thing they probably do of the year.
Yeah.
And they go in. They can make a Christmas record in a day and a half. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's one take on that sucker. It's gone. You know, I mean.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But
I get it from 54 years of being in the business playing Christmas music and then it's a lot of them don't even sing sometimes. It'll let the background people do it, or the background singers, and they'll just
like others.
The intuitiveness of Paul Gallo this morning is. I mean, you've been up a while. That's impressive.
They come in and sing after they've had a little bit of the eggnog or drink, and then they'll come back and add a voice. Yeah. Hey, look, man.
You're going to start getting me in trouble now with some of my friends. I better stop.
Well, I mean, how many times have you been in a recording session where alcohol was involved and you came back the next? No. You come back the next day and you listen to it and you say, I don't think that was as good as I thought it was when we were cutting it.
Hey, listen, my first album that I don't claim before Waiting on Joe, which I can't believe I'm even saying this on the air, it may draw attention to it, was the album when my kids, I don't know what everybody was doing in the room, but let me just tell you what, it's so bad that I overcame it, thank goodness, with Monday and Waiting on Joe and all that, but I got to tell you that when my kids, when things were really going wrong in their life, whatever it was, I would play them a cut of that record and they go, things aren't so bad, are they, Dad?
True.
Oh, God. Anyway.
You have put together another, how many years, is this the third year or fourth year of this?
Life goes by. And even though are you counting COVID years? Because this is actually going to be the fifth year or sixth.
Jeez, that is amazing.
Fifth year.
I think it is the fifth year. Yeah. And a lot of it's not, some of it's recycled, but a lot of it's not. You've got new stuff every single year. Give us a little bit of bullet points on what's going to happen as far as this coming weekend.
Well, everything's up to Will because he's the Wizard of Oz back there controlling all the programming. But I love it. We get new stories every year, and sometimes they make the cut, sometimes they don't. It depends about their Christmas stories from some of my more notable friends, and but their stories are interesting, and just the simple memories that when I ask them during the regular interviews, hey, I'm going to do a Christmas show at the end of the year. Why don't you give me a Christmas memory? And it's always great to catch them off guard, so to see where they go. Music from all generations, so you're not going to just get, a Mississippi Christmas on Super Talk with me is all about every generation of music, all the popular music of our time, celebrating our own music in Mississippi. We go deep into it all, and we're probably the most unique in that regard. That Will programs it that way. So he does a great job.
What do you remember about some of the early Christmases as a child?
See, you've turned into me. What just happened? Anyway, listen, no, for me, it was always about the guitars that I got. I got to tell you, and it's still about that. When it became when the guitar company started giving me a guitar. Next thing you know, giving me 70. But I remember my dad I wanted this one ovation, and it happens to be now in Marty Stewart's Country and Congress Country Music. It was one of the ones I wrote all my first songs on. It was an old ovation. Well, it's old now. It was a brand new ovation. And I remember from Morrison Brothers back in the day. Mm-hmm. We remember Morrison and Jackson.
Yes.
I remember I'd picked it out a couple months before, and somebody walked it in the liquor store the day before Christmas, and I saw it. Ooh. And my dad was so upset because he said, "There's no way we can afford to do that. No way it's going to happen. I don't want you to please know that, we love you, and I know you're working hard at this, but da-da-da-da-da-da, you're going to have to stick to playing that old classical harmony." And I saw it, and he was just so distraught. Anyway, I was happy, and now it's hanging out in Marty's museum, so it's a good thing.
I have an 11-year-old granddaughter, and she's into that, and she's done a great job with it, and she started off about 3 or 4 years ago. She's 11 years old now. I think she's got 4 guitars and a ukulele. So
wow.
They do add up with 3 or 4 guitars and a ukulele. So, speaking of which, I don't want to turn this into an interview as far as asking you questions, but I will ask you this though: paint the picture of the traditional Steve Azar when you were growing up Christmas dinner.
Oh well. We gotta have our ethnic blood in us. So my grandmother, you got to realize my grandmother in Clarksdale and my grandmother in Greenville. Mm-hmm. My grandmother in Greenville didn't cook as much. We'd go to Clarksdale all the time, or at least I don't recall Greenville. My Mama Rose, but my Mama Evelyn, she made it all. So it would be a hodgepodge of chicken and dumplings and fried chicken, but at the same time it'd be grape leaves and raw kibbe and all the great stuff, squash, and so we've kept the spinach pies. We've kept that tradition going for our kids.
Yeah.
With all of the the turkey and the dressing. So and then the peas with meat sauce. I learned a lot about cooking, and I love to cook. A lot of people know that, and I'll do a lot of post cooking, but. My grandmother, just being a fly on the wall, and, she didn't like you hanging out too much in there, but when she did, mm-hmm. you absorbed a lot. And, she was so Southern talking, oh, baby doll and all that, but, she wasn't too far removed. I think our families came over in the late 1800s, along with your family. So
they did, early 1900s. And I thought this also, Steve, we never think about this, but as kids, it's probably a bigger part of the Christmas season in certainly in the last 2 or 3 days and during the cooking process that is part of our memories that we don't appreciate it as much or spotlight as much, but the hustle and bustle going on from our mothers and grandmothers and the command they had in the kitchen putting all that together, that's a lot of memories there because
Paul,
they were working magic
tonight as well. Tonight's our annual pizza night where a lot of my siblings and their kids come into town, and everybody makes their own pizzas in my pizza oven out here. And it's going to be flour all over the place, and I'm going to be upset when the kitchen, if it won't be perfect. So, but tonight's that night, and we got friends that come over. In fact, one of my friends, a couple of my friends, Ken Purvis, the Purvis of the Bionis from your town, Shaw.
Oh man, yes.
Ken and then my buddy Tweety, who played Santa. In the video for Catfish Christmas, we all cook together, and their families come with my immediate family, siblings and all that, and we make about 30, 35 pizzas. It's usually more, but my sisters from Seattle and Atlanta aren't going to be able to make it. So we're spared a little bit of flour in the kitchen, but it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Tommy Bioni was, I think, a year or two ahead of me, but he was the Tony Dorsett of the football players.
Wow.
Low to the ground and a monster.
Wow.
You brought back a memory for me on that one. You got a chance to hold on for another segment here, sir?
Yeah, man, I love it. I'm in the garage right now looking at the weights, deciding if I'm going to work out or not.
Is your pizza oven outside as a brick one, or do you have one of the new ones inside?
Oh, no, it's old, pretty old school,
Inside or outside?
Oh, no, it's outside. I've been begging Gwen to let me have one inside to cut a hole in the ceiling, and she just looks at me.
They don't taste the same. No, your wife is right. Your wife is right on this one. Back with more.
I want one in my bedroom. She won't let me have one in my bedroom,
Back with Steve Azar, and let's see. When does this start, Perez? When does it kick in?
Friday at 1:00.
Tomorrow at 1:00 tomorrow afternoon is when it begins.
Is tomorrow Friday? Goodness.
All day.
It is, and I'm not sure what your temperatures are going to be, but they ain't going to be warm. I can tell you that.
I like it. Let it get cold. I'm tired. I mean, look, I need rain in the pond. I got a little bit of that last week as I was swimming home from Jackson. The night we had those big storms, man. They were crazy.
Yeah.
And then of course we have some water in the pond now, but I love it when it gets cold. Man, I love it.
You'll be able to ice skate very soon.
I'm ready.
Well, here's the thing about the Delta.
Do not use the word ice when I'm in the building, okay?
Here's the thing about living in the Mississippi Delta, and if you're attached to farming, and everybody is one way or the other, either farmers or indirectly attached to farming, is they want the cold weather. The colder, the better for a while, simply because it supposedly kills more insects for the next year.
Oh,
that's what I've always
I like
heard.
that.
That's what I've always heard, so I'm not sure if it's true or not.
I wonder how much truth to that is. You know, a lot of our farmer friends, they also call me and tell me before I put on a music festival what the weather's going to be, and they've been 0 for 42 so far. But other than that, it's been all.
Can I tell you the coldest day of my life?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I was in the Delta with Paul, outdoors, wearing cardinal robes. That was
on the Mississippi River.
On the Mississippi River.
Doing a broadcast with Steve Azar. The wind was blowing, the wind chill, and apparently it was coming directly from the moisture on the Mississippi River.
Oh, God, it's so cold out there.
Let me just say this. It was a month and a half later that some of the frozen, shriveled extremities of our bodies came back into normal. So,
hey, Paul.
Yeah.
You know, that's another. It was supposed to be 68 and sunny.
Yeah.
From my buddies on the farm. They're going to kill me, but I'm going to tell you. They're the best farmers in the world, and they're salt of the earth. But when it comes to their weather predictions, they're not so good.
No, I think they're buying the cheaper version of the Farmer's Almanac. Let me put it that way. Listen, you've done so many different interviews. I mean, literally now hundreds, if not in the thousands. It's just remarkable, and every one of them is just golden. And I love listening to them, but. Just to ask you, any ones this year, the past several months, that have left maybe an indelible impression on you?
Yeah, you know, Kim Dillon called. She texted on a Sunday, and
she never stops. She's always on.
I know that I did something either wrong or right when she texts me. No, she's the best. I love her so much. But she was saying that she was listening to the Corey Miller, which Corey was his third time on my show. You know, Corey was inducted in the South Carolina Gamecocks Hall of Fame, played next to Lawrence Taylor for, he was in the NFL for 10 years. And he comes to our Delta Soul every year. We are dear, dear friends, but he was the most candidly honest he's ever been. And he's also a pastor. And so he found himself with a gun in his, he was ready to pull the trigger. He talked about it.
Wow.
He talked about how his grandmother, he remembered something she said, that God would have a purpose for him, and he always thought football was it. A lot of these guys, when they retire from football and it's their whole life, they don't know where to go. He said he was bad to his first wife. He was awful to her, awful to his kid. He just proclaimed the most honest interview I've ever heard, and it was breaking my heart. But at the same time, it was so uplifting to see where he's come and where his heart is now. And it was the most. And I remember getting out of there, and Gwen, I was talking to my wife, going like, Gwen, I don't know what just happened, but Corey's never opened up like that. He did it on my show, and I'm so moved. And for Kim to text me, it validated the feelings that I had, and I got a lot of texts about it. Like, it wasn't like 4, you know what I mean? More like 40. And so, honesty is in music, Paul. Honesty is is the only way. Now, you can have fun, you can write songs and have fun songs and all that, but from my generation of writing songs, and I hate to age myself, but we talked about when you go low, you go all the way low. Because people want to know how they want to. Vulnerability is the key to writing songs. When you're vulnerable, you're not afraid to tell the truth. And so, anyway, he told the truth that day, and that was amazing.
On the C Spire text line, what happens at 1 o'clock tomorrow? That's when the Christmas music begins. Kevin in 601 says, Paul asked Steve Azar about Christmas on Wayside Drive.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen. Tell him Christmas on Wayside Drive, just down the street. If we would have known Mark Shapley was going to open up a restaurant years later, we'd have just ate at his house all the time.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but he does. I bet you that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we had a great street growing up. We lived on Baskin, on the corner of Baskin and Wayside, and the Shapleys lived on the corner, and they lived there. We were right there in the middle. It was a great street to grow up. So tell them Merry Christmas.
My cousin and aunt and uncle lived on Mayfair or Mayfield. Mayfair, I think it was, in Greenville. Anyway, title of Azar's album, according to Scott and Clinton, should be called Christmas-sippy.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah?
Huh.
Does that give you some momentum right there? Thank you, Scott.
Christmas-sippy. You know what? That's brilliant. Tell him.
Yes.
Second of all, that is brilliant. Second of all, now see, that gives me a reason to write a record. Otherwise, I'm not. So tell him he may have conjured me into that. But one of my publishing companies that I had a lot of hits on was Mississippi Music. How you like that?
It dovetails me into the final question here. Because it's been a big year. What has being the author and also the singer of the new state song meant to you in this unbelievable year?
Well, come on. I mean, we've talked about this. This is, it's unbelievable. Well, here's what it's meant. I've been getting emails and text messages and people sending pictures. I got one from my brother Joe. They said that a friend of his, Jackson, the daughter was sitting in front of the computer singing, learning the song. I've been to some schools. And it's been great having them sing with me. We have band sheet music, and people, and for everybody out there, your marching band can now learn. You can just Google it, I guess, and the publisher that people are starting to buy sheet music for the song.
Wow.
That means bands are buying it, and then we got Sarah Frances Hardy's doing. She'll be ready at the end of this year to show me the book. We're doing a children's book that her children's illustrations, 7 beautiful children, taking you a walk through the lyric and basically a history lesson of Mississippi. So we want that in every K through 3 hands next year, and no cost to them. That's the goal. I'm coming after some people after New Year. We're all going to come after some sponsors. But the good thing is it's the greatest gift. It's been my greatest gift as a songwriter. I'm so appreciative. And then, just had Marty Stewart and Morgan Freeman and Cedric Burnside, Dorothy Moore, Bobby Rush, Chapel Hart, Jerry Lee Lewis before he passed away. The list goes on and on. They all joined me in an abbreviated version of the video to celebrate. And having my peers be in on it as well and say that it's the one, that's, you know what I mean? That matters the most. So it's been a blessing, and I'm so grateful, man. I'm just so grateful.
Steve Azar is my guest. Steve, is that accessible, that audio with the montage on there?
What'd you say, buddy? I'm sorry.
Is that audio accessible? Is it somewhere that we could get, that I could get it to play some excerpts on?
I'm sorry.
I want to hear Dorothy. I want to hear Dorothy Moore's version of that.
Well, everybody's saying we are one Mississippi. Dorothy did it better than anybody. Mm-hmm. I'm such a fan. And I get a little squirmy when I'm around her because I'm such a fan. But, she was great. But everybody's holding up their fingers saying we are one Mississippi. And Kat Cora, my sister Kat, and as I call her, Lance Bass. I mean, it was awesome. Mr. Sip, Cedric, they all came aboard. And it's awesome. They're coming. Marty comes out of an elevator and says it. Randy Hauser. I mean, so it was great. But when Morgan Freeman heard it, he said, "How can I get involved?" And so he's the bookend of the whole thing. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Go to just Google. It's the One Mississippi with cameos.
I got it.
Yeah,
I would have.
Yeah,
I wish the B.B. King had a chance to do that. Real quick.
on.
Final question here to solve something for Perez, and only for Perez. How many of your guests have you played? What percentage of your guests have you played golf with?
Oh man, tell Perez, that's a good question. A lot of them. I was texting John Daly. Johnson just had surgery, and his girlfriend was texting back last night saying he feels okay, but he was the first guest. So not only have a lot of the guys I've played golf with, there's a ton of them. That's how we met. That's how we all met. So
that's what Perez always says. Is when we're announcing the guest of the week, Perez says he's probably played golf with Steve Azar.
Yeah.
So
Perez,
Steve,
now you're intuitive, Perez, even more so than Paul.
let's don't pour it on. Come on.